Hello everybody and welcome back. This is Patsy, and along with Leslie, Kelsey, and Ashley, we thank you guys for being here. Let's get started. Children in special education classrooms often exhibit disruptive and challenging behavior, which can be a hindrance to the learning environment. To break through this disruptive behavior, it is typical to conduct a functional assessment. By doing this, the researcher can determine the function of the off-task behavior exhibited by the individual. Once you can find the function of the off-task behavior, an intervention can be implemented to increase time spent on task. One way to do that is by implementing a work system. A common intervention for off-task classroom behavior is a variety of work systems. Hume et al. Defines a work system as a way to visually communicate expectations to the client. It would typically include a visual representation of the task to be completed, the quantity to be completed, a concise ending point, and a reminder of what will come next. Work systems are comparable to visual schedules for the specific work tasks, creating concrete beginnings and endings. Work systems include a task strip, first-then board, teach bins, and mini schedules with predetermined breaks. First, let's talk about task strips and teach bins. A task strip usually contains 10 strips and has a space at the bottom for the break that's earned. The number needed for each activity is based on chain steps of a task or in minute increments. Once completed, the student earns a break. This can be used with pictures and symbols, so it is applicable to clients of all skill levels. With teach bins, a student is given cards with numbers 1 through 3 on them, along with a break card. These cards correspond to a task bin. Once the task is done in bin 1, that card is turned in. Once the student is down to just the break card, then it's time for a break. A mini schedule includes a two-sided board or paper, one green side and one red. At the beginning of the day, the student's schedule is arranged with the required tasks. When a task is completed, the student moves it to the all done side. This helps the student visually see what tasks are still required. Finally, a first-then board looks and functions like a mini schedule board, but can be used for smaller tasks so that the student does not become too overwhelmed with longer ones. There are many benefits of work systems. They give very clear expectations and promote independence. Hume and Odom bring forth another concern with off-task behavior. Individuals who cannot work independently will have a harder time with community inclusion. That is, they will be less likely to generalize skills into a vocational position if they are not able to explicitly learn skills in a small group setting. Another benefit of using work systems is building a tolerance for delay of reinforcement. Though typically reinforcement must be immediate in order to be effective, it is both possible and useful to build up tolerance for delayed reinforcement. Functionally, work systems provide support to build pre-vocational skills. By increasing the time children spend on task, the child is able to gain a larger range of functional vocational skills. The purpose of this study was to increase the duration of on-task behavior by use of a range-bound changing criterion design. Changing criterion designs allow for gradual improvements to be made on said behavior. A variation of this design, the range-bound changing criterion design, can help determine the upper and lower limits of acceptable performance for an individual. This design may be more accurate in classroom settings when applied to individuals, because typically behavior does fluctuate on a day-to-day basis, and this method of measurement may prove more functional to the intervention. This was done across 3 individuals under the same setting with similar deficits in on-task behavior. 3 students in middle school were selected for this study based on deficits in on-task behavior. Bear is a 10-year-old male diagnosed with a moderate cognitive impairment. He demonstrated the ability to read only a few words and communicated mostly through visual communication. Risley, an 11-year-old male, has been diagnosed with a moderate cognitive impairment and autism. Risley demonstrated the ability to read fluently at a second grade level, but obtained limited comprehension skills. Wolf is a 10-year-old male diagnosed with a moderate cognitive impairment. He was unable to read and utilized visual picture schedules. Both parents and teachers reported that all 3 students were unable to sit for a full work session. All students communicated verbally, but Bear and Wolf benefited from extra processing time. Per teacher interviews and direct observation, all 3 students were observed to sit appropriately and attend to a work task for less than 1 minute. Participants were observed in their classroom during afternoon centers. Students were each placed at a desk with a work schedule to identify what tasks needed to be completed. A range-bound changing criterion design was used. Baseline was collected and all 3 participants were observed to attend at least once for 2 minutes. Initial criterion range was within 1 minute. On-task behavior was defined as staying in the designed work area with the chair firmly on the floor and attending to the task or schedule and engaging in work. Data was collected using a stopwatch timer and recording it with paper and pencil. The duration of on-task behavior was measured once the student was cued to work and the task list was referred to. Inter-observer agreement was calculated for 14 sessions per child. Average agreement was just over 94% for all 3 participants. An integrity checklist was provided for the teacher who initiated the intervention. Each observer also had a copy of the checklist available to reference during sessions. Here are the results of Bear's functional analysis. The data clearly shows that Escape is maintaining his off-task behavior. For Risley, Escape is also maintaining his off-task behavior. The data shows the same for Wolf. Baseline was taken during afternoon centers. Each student rotated through independent desk work at different times during the afternoon centers. Bear's mean duration of on-task behavior was 1 minute 20 seconds. For Risley, it was 1 minute 10 seconds, and for Wolf, 1 minute 45 seconds. Now let's discuss structured work systems for the participants. Bear's system included a visual schedule task strip with pictures and words. For Risley, he had a written mini schedule. Wolf utilized a visual picture schedule. Upon completion of baseline levels, it was determined that students would sit for no more than 2 minutes before engaging in off-task behaviors. The criterion of the first phase was between 2 to 3 minutes. Data was taken during afternoon center time, and a mini reversal phase was placed upon completion of phase 3. The results show that all 3 participants were able to achieve on-task behavior between 18 to 19 minutes by the end of 44 sessions. The graph here shows Bear's on-task behavior. Note in each graph the mini reversal phase after the 3rd phase. And here is Risley's data. And finally, Wolf's graph. A social validity survey was provided to parents, the teacher, and other service providers involved in the intervention. Upon completion, all parties were in agreement that the study was socially valid. This study suggests that work systems are an effective method of increasing on-task behavior in the educational setting. All 3 participants increased their on-task behavior. 2 limitations of the study include generalization across time and settings. Finally, a potential threat to external validity is generality across behavior change agents and settings. Future research should look at generalization of on-task behavior with the use of probes across settings. Probes should also be used to test the intervention across different behavior change agents and to test maintenance over long periods of time. And there you have it. Thanks again for tuning in. It's been a great semester. For Leslie, Kelsey, Ashley, and myself, thanks for everything. Merry Christmas, everybody, and have a happy and safe New Year.